Hey everyone, it's Tiffany from Let's Get Scrappy, and I have a quick tutorial for you. There were a lot of comments where you guys said you did indeed want a tutorial for this. It's very similar to quite a few albums I've made with just using one sheet of paper to make the signature. So this is what we're going to do today. So it is this little 4.5 by 4.5 mini album. So this is what it looks like, and I do have this already on my channel, but I'm going to show you how to make the page today. I will do the cover, which I don't always do because I feel like everyone knows how to do a cover by now, but I'll show you how I did this cover. The Tamara's lay flat method is how I did this one. You don't have to do it like this. You can do it the regular way, totally up to you how you want to. I go back and forth, just depending upon my mood. So what you'll need first, 2 pieces of chipboard. Yes, I have different colored chipboard, but 2 pieces, 4.5 by 4.5. And then I did 2 pieces of cardstock, which was artisan cardstock from Country Craft Creations. I did 2 that are 5.5 by 5.5 for the spine. 1 piece of chipboard that is 1 by 4.5. And then to cover that, 1 piece of cardstock 4 by 6.5. And you really can kind of do it however you want to. But so we will try to do this somewhat quick. I did prep it a little bit. So I have my score tape on the back. I do like to use score tape on my covers. I don't like when there ends up being any type of bubbling or anything. So I feel like score tape really gets it on there good. So you could put your piece in here and make sure, just like that. Now, if you bought the mini spacers from Country Craft Creations, which I just have like half a set, I believe in the, I think you get a full set. Don't quote me, but I'll link it below. But I think you get 2 of the half size, 2 of the quarter size. What is the 2 3/8? I don't know. I will link it below. I don't have it up with me in my filming area, but this is just one way you can use the spacers. So if you had 2 of them, you do one this way and one that way, and then you have a really nice measured fit. So my cardstock, and you could, some people do 1 inch on the ends for small little albums. I just grabbed whatever scraps that I have left on the table from a bigger album. So mine is 5.5 by 5.5. So we will only have a 1/2 inch on each side. So for this, I don't need to have both my spacers in, but if you have both spacers, it's better. But I just look at where the half mark is on the actual scoreboard and just eyeball it, because again, it doesn't have to be totally perfect, but I'm pushing it up against the spacer and then putting it down. So all I'm doing is looking, okay, 1/2 inch is there, so I'm somewhat lining it up with that. And then same thing, lining it up with the 5, just right there. So that's, you know, how you can use these spacers. But what these are really great for is doing waterfalls and making sure that the 1/2 inch in between is an even space when you go to lay them down, if you do them individually. Okay, so we have that one. Now we will do this one here. So again, the cardstock is 5.5 by 5.5. I'm removing the score tape from my chipboard, which I cannot live without my Tim Holtz Polky tool. It is my favorite. And if you have been following me and have seen some of my haul videos, Lord, in the fall time, I purchased this black one and I was so excited because I don't like the red clashing with all my turquoise and white. Oh my gosh, this one's boo-boo. It is not as sharp. This has a magnetic tip, so if I drop one of my, like, you know, straight pens, I can pick it up with my poker, and it is really sharp. I can get my score tape totally easy. This, I don't know if you guys, I mean, this wasn't supposed to be part of the tutorial, but I just have to say this because it's really annoying. Can you see? No, that's kind of blurry. But it's just a little duller on the tip than the red one. So I rarely use this black one. That's why it's up in my filming area, just in case I forget to bring my favorite up. So again, I'm just putting it on here, eyeballing it. Sorry about that, you know, squirrel moment. Goodness gracious. And then if you had the larger spacers, which I do not, I haven't gotten them yet, and I believe she does have them back in stock. And this does come off. I kind of like mine on there, so I haven't peeled this off. But this is acetate, and they come in the different colors, but I haven't peeled it off. So I'm leaving mine on there, and everyone's gonna have to live with it. Okay, so I'm putting, again, I did 4 by 6.5 to cover, you know, our spine, but I'm just gauging it. You can mark it with, I'll show you, but you guys have seen me do this before, but again, it's really just, it does not have to be even. Just marking it with my scoreboard, doing it here, and this also gives you a gauge of where to place your, I don't even have to do it on this anymore. I don't know why I have it up here, but so I'm just going to take the score tape off this and then just place it down on the crossbar. Oh, I forgot. This is 1.5, so that didn't really help me. So we will do, it's really weird going upside down, just saying. Okay, like that. So I'll place it here on the crossbar. Gotta make sure I'm still in frame because I do that a lot. I don't know why I do not like having to do the cover on camera. It just makes the video longer, and again, I feel like you guys all know how to do covers by now, but I'm doing it. So I'm just gonna make sure that is burnished down. Where's my other one? Sorry about that loud noise. Giving it a good burnish. Same with these here. Again, making sure there are no air bubbles. Okay. And then I'm just eyeballing it. If it's not perfect, it's okay. And luckily, I mean, I have black chipboard anyways, so it doesn't really matter. Of course, they're not the same black because you never can have the same blacks. Who knew there were so many shades of black? Oop, that looked like it was too short, but that's okay. Okay, so I just kind of work the paper before I seal it down. And I'm probably shaking the camera. I could have had one of these done before the video, but of course I wasn't thinking. Okay. So then I'm just gonna peel these up here. And I do like to, if I use score tape and not all, you know, don't have it all glue, then I like to put a bead of glue just up against the edge there, just to have a crisp edge. I do like that on my albums. So we will do this side. Can you guys see me still? Okay. And again, I'm just pushing it down into that glue, folding it over. Making sure it's in there, and then a good burnish. And we will do the other two sides. And yes, it's a must that you just throw your squirt tape backings. Just make a big mess in our craft rooms. And I will just, usually I do this first, I don't know why I didn't. tuck in the little corner. Trying to go too fast. You guys know I don't like long videos. Then it takes a really long time to upload for some reason. Okay, good there. Okay, and just seal that up. Okay, now this one, same thing. I don't know why, but I have to do like the opposite ends. I know, it's very strange. I try not to sometimes and it just doesn't feel right to me. Can't do it. So just remember, if you pull off both, don't let the other side hit when you fold down like this. I always leave this, actually, this part up so that it doesn't stick to my mat or my filming area. Okay, I'm going to take off this side. I really like making the mini minis. I just think they're so cute and they're great for scraps. And it's a nice little gift to give somebody. Especially like I love it for like baby albums. Having something cute and tiny like to display in the nursery is so cute. Over. Got a good burnish. I can see glue seeping out, so I don't want it on my mat. I should have up my actual working mat when I'm doing the tutorial, but I forgot it. Okay, so let me just check. Checking to see if there's any corners. Sometimes like it'll stick out a little bit and I'll just take off that little nubbin. Okay, so we are good with that. Now for the lay flat method, it's a little different. You can do this all different ways. So trying to think, you could cut like the corner and fold it if you want to. But I don't like all that bulk, but this is how Tamara does hers, where she just, and I'm just again eyeballing it. Just cutting up to the edge of the chipboard. Just like that. And then do the same thing on this side, but I'm going to just miter it a little bit. Okay, I mitered the wrong way. That was funny. Like that. And when Tamara does it, she folds hers in to get her, like she'll do it like this. So either way, she does it so to make sure she doesn't cut into her paper. But again, totally your preference on how you want to do that. So she does it just like that. Okay, so to work this, I kind of bend them different ways because these are going to be your like kind of hinge to attach. These get laid down like that, but I always just double check to make sure that when it folds over, so see there's a little, well you can't see that, but there's just a little bit hanging off, so I'm just going to take off just a little bit there. So it won't catch. There we go. And that one is good. So we're just going to glue those two down. Get it in. And then just glue it down. And you can miter these a little bit too if you want to. I mean, especially for these little ones. I mean, even if you make a little mistake, it's really not going to show because it's so little. So I'm just getting those on there. Give it a good burnish. Nice crisp edge. And then I see just a little bit for this one. Okay. So again, these are your hinges. I just kind of work the paper so it goes back and forth. And this was actually supposed to be on the inside, but I wasn't paying attention. So there you go. Luckily, it will erase. Okay, so this is how it'll look, is like that. So let me just move this stuff out of the way. Put my glue top back in. Okay. And then I'm going to bring back out my scoreboard just so that I get somewhat of an even edge. So just like this is going to butt up against it like so. So you see I'm pushing this into the corner. Okay, now I'm going to tell you like another way to do it too that I normally do, but I'm just showing you how this was taught. Again, I'm weird and I just end up eventually doing things a little different and whatever is quicker. Okay. So just getting the glue on. Getting it into there. And you can use score tape for this. You don't have to use wet adhesive. So I just want to make sure I'm good. Okay. So I can, nope, I don't like it. Hold on. Hold please. Let me get my favorite tool. I'm just going to get this out of there. It was a little crooked and I didn't like it. So surgery time. And it is fine that this is not coming off totally clean. Nobody will never know. Should have a TikTok video. Somebody's gonna know. They'll never know. Somebody's gonna know. Or maybe just go the other way. I don't know. Okay. So I'm just gonna do it the way I normally do. And I'll show you why, because I'm OC and crazy. Let me just take these two little... Okay, surgery is almost complete. Okay. So this is what I normally do. Is I like to get it up this way to the edge. Usually I have it clamped. And I just come in and take that out because you do not want glue to dry right there at the tip. So I just take that out. And we're going to burnish our little messy paper. I promise you won't notice it. And you guys have heard me before 1,000 times. I mess up on every project, but you never know. Okay, so that's going to dry a little bit. So we'll do the other side. So get that, just make sure it's in there good. And then on this one, same thing. I will just line it up like that. Again, for me, it's just easier. I don't know why. And you don't want to go up that high with the glue because it'll seep out and then it could rip your paper. So don't do what I just did. It doesn't need to be up that high. Okay. Well, this is a mess of a tutorial, isn't it? Tiffany bloopers. Gotta love it. Okay, so that is on there good. We're gonna burnish side. We have our surgery complete. Where's my degree? I know, I'm a mess. Okay, so now we are good. So as you can see, it lays flat really well. I just grab literally whatever, so this way, whatever piece is on like my scrap, table is what I use for this. It doesn't have to be a certain length or width, but it does have to be a certain height. I do just like a 1/16 of an inch shorter, maybe a little more, not quite fully an 1/8. I like it to be, or maybe I did do an 1/8 on this. Let me see. Let me see. So this is a 4.5 by 4.5, and yes, I did an 1/8 inch shorter. So we're just gonna glue this on here, and then we are good to go. And I actually like to do score tape on mine. I mean, I do both. I don't know why. But, and again, it doesn't have to be like the whole thing. I just do it like in parts. Just trying to think of the best way to show you guys like what I do. For me, for some reason, I like the mixture of the two. And this is literally all I do for the score tape, and you want to make sure you don't go all the way to the edges, because then you'll see it outside your paper. And then I'll add glue in between. Don't try to understand crazy, just go with it. And sometimes I'll do all glue, sometimes I won't. I'm telling you, it just depends on what mood I'm in and what I want to do. So I do a little here, usually a little bit straighter than that. Just kind of get it on the edges of the tape so I know that for sure. And then I'll do it around the edge of my paper. Just like so. This is supposed to be a quick tutorial. It's not very quick. Okay, so we have that on there. And then you're gonna place this. And I'll tell you, sometimes I don't do the hinge how we're about to do it. I'll do it the old way, where you don't have this piece, you actually have the hinge and then it extends with wings. But I'm just, on this book, for some reason, I did it this way. Like I said, I'd change it up. Okay, and then we are going to make sure that it's in there good. And you can add glue into the gusset when you put this on there. For me, I know the glue was gonna seep anyways. Okay, so there is our little shell of a book. Let's take this off. Now for the actual hinge. So you'll need a piece that is 2 3/8 by 4 1/8. So it looks like this. And I just, when I go to cut it, I just take a hair off each side, just so that when we go to fold it up, it doesn't hit the bottom. So you could see where I put my score tape. This is the other side when we put our pages on there. And I have, so score at, when you do cut this, you are going to score it at, let's see, what do we got? It's a 1/2 Yeah, so score at a half and then 1, and then you have 3/8 in between. So that will be 2 and this thing is weird. Oh, have it going the wrong way. That would be why. So score again at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and then 1 and 3/8, and then 1 and 7/8, and then you can just trim your piece if you didn't already, or if it's already trimmed, that's all you do. Okay, so just want to make sure, basically you're doing a 1/2 inch on each side for your hinge, 1/2 inch over here on each side, and then in the middle is only 3/8. You can do a 1/2 inch if you want to. There's plenty of room to do that too. So we're just going to take both these off, fold it over, fold this one over. So I do my hinge just a hair shorter than my page. So whatever my page is, so our pages are 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. So my hinge is only a 4 1/8 tall. So just like this here. And you guys know that I try to write everything down in white, because sometimes my mind is thinking one thing, but my mouth is saying another thing. So, yeah. There are errors, and I'm just mitering my corners right now. Just like that. So this is just a floating hinge that we are now going to put just on the spine here, just like this. So again, you could take your ruler and do just a couple tick marks of where you want to line up. I'm just going to eyeball it today, just to speed up the process. And we will add, let me get this off there, just a little bit of glue to give us a little wiggle room. So just like so. Okay. And then again, just eyeballing it. I'm sure it'll not be straight. Because it rarely is. All right. But if you want it to be exactly centered, just like I said, just do a couple tick marks up top and a couple tick marks at the bottom in pencil, and then there you go. Okay, so that's our floating hinge. And you could do your decorative paper on the spine before you put your floating hinge on there, but we're just gonna go with it. So, okay, let me show you this process, which is no process at all. And you guys can do all different sizes. You just have to get out a piece of paper, score kind of where you know you want, like the size, like obviously the biggest, well, that's not even true, because you could do different sizes. You could get like 5 by 7 or something strange, but you want to just like kind of play with your scoreboard. So that's all I do. So here is the 1-pager. So I'm just gonna, let me turn this way. So 8 1/2 by 11. And I knew that I wanted a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 page. So that's where I'm scoring, is 4 1/4, and then I turn and flip because I want my bump down when I go to fold up. 4 1/4, I turn, or not turn, I flip it, and then I do 8 1/2. This is going to give us our pocket. You don't have to have this. I originally wasn't going to have this, and I just was going to have a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, and you slice up one side, you do a little fold, and that's your signature for your page. And then you could add all kinds of flaps. But on this, I decided to do pockets. So let me show you in white. And I have it just on here as, this is like the name of the album, 4 1/2 by 4 1/2. But this is actually 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 for the measurements. This is what it looks like here. And you can use a cutter if you want to. I just freehanded it, but you might need to shave off a little bit. And like this, or one of these, I don't even know which one, but one of them wasn't fully 8.5, but it was a little bit bigger. So just kind of check. Paper is not always totally even, but as you can see, you just go up on the cut. This really is a mess of a tutorial. Sorry. Okay, so I'm just gonna go from the bottom and go up. And if it's not straight, that's fine, because you can trim it up as you're folding your page, which I always have to do. And especially if for some reason your scoreboard is off a little, or like I said, if your paper is actually off a little bit. So now we're gonna fold this in half. And crease that edge. Okay, so it's looking like this. So folding that way. Now we're gonna fold up, and you can do it. You could do it however you want to. And I guess I didn't really need to flip. It doesn't matter which way the pocket goes because it's gonna go this way, right? Oh no, I did it right. Oh my gosh, let's do the pocket first. Did you guys want a better tutorial than this? Because that's not happening today. Just in case you were wondering. Getting a hot mess. But it wouldn't be a Tiffany tutorial if it was nice and clean and neat. Okay, so we have one side done. Just let's flip this pocket on this crease here. And if you don't score it the way I scored it as far as flipping and turning, it doesn't matter. I just like to do it on the hill, like the little mountain edge when I fold my paper. So that's why I always kind of do a prototype. And I usually do it with like paper that isn't like, you know, my good cardstock. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So we are going to, and I'm going to show you a couple things. So I want my fold to be the top because I'm doing a side loaded pocket for my photo mat, but we have to close up the bottom. But I do want to show you, and maybe it's better if I do it in white. Okay, so this is where this is going to be the top. So I always find the top, figure out where oh my gosh, my phone, hold on one sec, figure out where I need to close it up. But if you wanted a top loading pocket, you could flip it like this and put your hinge in here. I mean, oh my gosh, put your hinge on the side, Tiffany. And now you have a top loading pocket. So this would close up and then you would slide this onto your hinge. But we are doing a side loading pocket, and I did add a hinge. You don't have to, you could just seal up the bottom just a little bit, but for this one I wanted the full depth. So just a 1/2 inch on each side. So we have just one, this is 1 inch scrap piece of paper, and I do it just a hair shorter than the width of my actual page. So the page is 4 1/4, so it's slightly smaller. And we're gonna just give it a crease, miter the corners. It doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit. I don't know why I'm struggling with everything. Whew, goodness gracious. So I just will put my adhesive on one side, and there's tons of ways to do this. Some people don't like it on the inside of their pocket. Some people do. I don't really care. So again, just going with the flow. So I'm going to put this side down first. I'm making sure this is way, like, really look at your page. Okay, my pocket's going to go this way, and I want it to close here in the middle. So just making sure, oops, making sure the corner is closest to the top, so there's no issues on the hinge that's going to go in there. Getting that down. Okay, now adding glue to this side here. this down. I can't wait for the weekend. Oh my goodness, it's gonna be so fun. Meaning just being able to craft. Not that I have any actual plans. Because I'm a homebody and I don't like going anywhere and everybody has cooties. Okay, so now we sealed it up. We can put it on our hinge. So I always just do a dry fit. Maybe. Maybe not. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. So I just do a dry fit to make sure I can get it on my hinge. There have been times where my hinge has been, you know, too big and didn't fit well. And that's fine too. You could just trim it. Even with it on there, you could still trim it. So I'm just going to take these off. And we're just going to not be so picky with this album. And just get it on there. Okay, so before I press anything, I'm just making sure it is somewhat even. And looking at it, that looks good. Now I put it down. And for most of my albums, if I remember, again, I don't know if you guys see, I put it up a little bit on so it doesn't catch on there. And then just kind of burnish that down. Get a good seal. You can use wet glue too. I'm just using the score tape for the purpose of the video. I think, yes, I brought up the other one. I already have the second page done. So we're just making sure my pockets are going where I want them to go. Yep. And you can have it where your pockets are like this if you want to, and have, you know, when you glue this down, this pocket comes up this way. But for this album, our pockets are like this. And normally I don't like doing my pockets this way because it just feels weird to pull out with my left hand. But it's still cute. So we're just going with it because I'm showing you guys exactly how I made this one. You can add flaps. You can, anybody's tutorial, you can still make it your own. So just know that you don't have to do things, am I in frame? Okay. You don't have to do things exactly how it is on a tutorial if you don't want to. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so we're putting that down. A little burnish. Voila! We are good. So there is, God, I hope you guys can see the little tutorial. So the reason why these aren't down, and you can use these as a pocket like I did, or you can do like magnets on here and it could just be a little flap. You have a little tag here and it opens up like this. Like I said, you could do these however you want to, but the reason why I left these open right now is because I know that I want to do my decorative paper down first, and then I'll just add a little bead of glue on the ends and glue it down. But you can add a gusset if you want more room in your pocket. I typically don't like a lot of room in my pocket unless I know I'm going to stuff it with a lot of things, because I hate things like moving around. But, you know, when I did this part at the end. As you guys know, I was using scraps. I don't have paper going all the way down here. To me, that is a waste of great paper. It is just enough to be under the pocket and be hidden. So just, you know, tip, if you are working with scraps, do these skinnier pieces, or even like any smaller pieces, do last. Do all your big first. And then the photo mat, I want to say, it's like a 4. Yeah, 4. I don't like this ruler up here. 4 by 4 is what I did for the photo mat, since the pages are 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. And you could do a 4 1/4, it'll just be a snug fit. I just like to have mine. I don't like people to have to work, because even once you get pictures on things, it gets really snug. So I like to leave room. Okay, so we made it. We made it. Okay, there you guys go. Don't let me know what you think on this one, because I know this was not a great tutorial, but hopefully you guys got the gist and you can make some cute little mini minis. If you did and you post on Instagram, please tag your girl. I love seeing everyone's projects. It's just so fun. Even if you change it up, I absolutely love seeing what everybody makes. And if you're on Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations on the Facebook page and you do the same, please post it. It's just fun seeing what other people come up with and how people change things up. Even if you don't and leave it the same, it's just fun to see what you do with it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please make sure that you do, so that way you could see future tutorials. Thanks for watching. Bye.